Hey everyone, it's Daniel Morrobel, your North and South Carolina realtor here. So you've probably heard a lot about Charlotte lately. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and for good reason. But what if I want to be close to the action without driving headfirst into the busy city life? That's where Fort Mill, South Carolina comes in. Fort Mill has quietly become one of the most in-demand suburbs in the entire Charlotte metro area. You get beautiful neighborhoods, highly rated schools, strong community vibe, and easy access to just about everything. But like anywhere, it comes with a few challenges, like rising housing costs, growth pains, more traffic, and a few surprises you'll want to know about before making the move. And make sure you stick around till the end, because I'm going to share 2 insider tips that people always overlook when relocating to Fort Mill, South Carolina. These are the kinds of things that can literally save you stress, and in some cases, even money in the long run. All right, let's get into it. Pro number 1 is strong and highly rated schools. One of the biggest reasons families move here to Fort Mill, South Carolina is the strength of the school system. And this isn't just something that people say, it's backed up by real data from real sources. You can confidently say that according to niche.com, Fort Mill School District holds an A+ rating and ranks number 1 in all of South Carolina. Here's what the numbers actually look like. Around 18,000 plus students served, 13-to-1 student-teacher ratio, 96% graduation rate, and 75% reading proficiency, and a 67 math proficiency. And one thing I've noticed, parents here are involved. They show up, PTA school nights, school events, sports, band, theater. You don't see any empty stands, literally anywhere on those school campuses most of the time. I once had a client tell me, he said, "Dan, we moved here for the schools, and honestly, the community around the schools is even better than we expected." And I said, that's literally why people kind of move here, and they pay what they pay to be in these school systems. But listen, even if you don't have kids, strong schools protect home values. So for most people, this is a big win. Now, pro number 2 is quality of life, and actually space to breathe, to be honest. Fort Mill has that balance people are craving for: convenience and breathing room. One of my favorite places here is Ann Springs Closed Greenway. It's over 2,100 acres of trails, lakes, horseback riding, kayaking, and open fields. It's massive. Peaceful space right in your backyard. If you're someone who likes taking long walks, hiking, spending time with the kids outdoors, or even having a quiet morning with nature, this place is perfect. And for mountain biking is pretty cool too. I actually do it myself. Fort Mill also has great parks like Walter Elijah, Harris Street Park, Dobby Bridge Park, and Springfield Greenway access. And the town really takes care of them. I've taken clients on neighborhood walks after showing so they can just kind of have a feel of the vibe here. We hear the birds, no constant sirens. You see people jogging, riding bikes, not congested sidewalks. Kids actually like to play outside. It gives a peaceful, grounded feeling like, yeah, I could definitely see myself and my family living here. So before we go any deeper, if you like this video and this video is helping you at all, do me a quick favor, hit the like button and the subscribe button, and share this with someone who's thinking about moving to the Charlotte area or Fort Mill area. It helps grow the channel and lets me keep pushing out content like this every week. All right, so let's get back to the pros. Pro number 3, proximity to Charlotte. Fort Mill is about 20 miles from uptown, south of Charlotte. That means you can live in a quiet neighborhood, have access to top-rated schools, be around nature, then still drive into Charlotte for work, nightlife, sports, concerts, which we have a lot of that come to town, or the airport, without living in the middle of it. It's a big plus. A normal drive is around 25 to 30 minutes depending on traffic. And honestly, if you're strategic about it when you travel, it's super manageable. That's one of the biggest reasons people choose Fort Mill over other South Carolina suburbs. So, pro number 4, that strong housing market, stability, and long-term value. Here's something you will notice quickly. Fort Mill homes don't sit on the market for very long. The demand is super strong, the appreciation is real, and home ownership rate is above 80%, which tells you people want to stay here. Neighborhoods feel well kept, landscaping looks cared for, yards are manicured, and the pride of ownership is super obvious. Now, if you buy in Fort Mill, South Carolina, you're not just buying a home, you're buying into a market that has proven stability, even through the shaky years in real estate that we've had this past couple of years. It's one of the main reasons investors and families alike both have their eye on this area. Now, pro number 5, and that is community feels like a local vibe here. This is the part that's harder to measure, but easy to feel once you're here. So let me give you an actual experience. So Baxter Village. Highly encourage you to come and take a look at it one evening or in the weekend. A client told me that Fort Mill felt like a living postcard. And honestly, that's the vibe you get walking through Baxter Village. And things like kids riding their bikes, neighbors chatting on their porches, families grabbing ice cream, small businesses built right into the neighborhood. You don't get that everywhere, honestly. So there's also local events. The Fort Mill Strawberry Festival is a huge festival they throw every year. And it has food trucks, rides, vendors, and thousands of people show up, even from out of town. And Friday night football. Who doesn't love that? Real community energy, from downtown Fort Mill to the small shops, restaurants, coffee boutiques. It has a personality. You don't feel like you're in a cookie-cutter suburb when you're in Fort Mill, South Carolina. The sense of community is a major part of what draws people to Fort Mill, South Carolina. All right, let's flip the script a little bit, because Fort Mill is amazing, but not perfect. Nothing's perfect. So brings us to con 1, and that is housing cost. The biggest downside for most people is cost. Fort Mill is not a budget-friendly option. If you're coming from a lower cost area, you might feel the sticker shock. Median house prices tend to land in the mid 400s to low 500s, sometimes more depending on the neighborhood and the amenities. And with so much demand, especially for homes near the top-rated schools, competition stays strong. I've had buyers tell me, Dan, we had to bump up our budget by 60 to 80K after seeing what's actually available and what actually can go under contract for. It's not impossible, but you need a realistic budget going in. Now, con number 2, and that's traffic and rapid growth. This is probably the number 1 complaint I hear from people who live here and my past clients that moved here. Fort Mill is growing fast, and I-77, especially during rush hours, feels like it. Morning commute into Charlotte, evening commute out, it can be rough. Side roads around the schools can also stack up. New construction brings temporary road closures, and some neighborhoods that used to be peaceful are now dealing with some through traffic. I've personally been late to showings because of backups, and I've learned to leave way earlier than I think I need to. So yes, traffic is a con, but I also come in from the other side of town most of the time, so it's not that bad if you're not that far. So con number 3, limited nightlife. If you're looking for nightlife, bars open late, or the walkable entertainment, that's going to be Charlotte, not Fort Mill. There are great restaurants and breweries here, but nightlife is not the town's focus. For some people, that's totally fine. For others, it's a deal breaker. But that's why Charlotte is about 20 minutes north of Fort Mill, and you can take an Uber there with no problem and have all your late night fun that you want. Now, con number 4, HOA rules and fees. Fort Mill has a lot of HOA neighborhoods. Some people love this, some people hate it. HOAs help keep neighborhoods clean and consistent, but they also come with fees, rules, and sometimes headaches. I had a client who wanted to build a small shed in the back. Nothing crazy. It looked really nice. It matched the house and the siding, and it took 3 rounds of approvals to get it done. Just make sure you are reading the fine print, the CC&Rs, and all the supporting documents before you buy that house. Con number 5, extra costs that add up. Between property taxes, utilities, lawn care, HOA fees, and the cost of living, it ends up being a bit higher than what people expect. Not insane, not New York or California prices, but enough to matter when you're budgeting. Just be aware that the expenses go beyond the mortgage, and that's something you definitely want your agent to look into before even putting in an offer. When I work with clients, we go over everything before we even initiate an offer. Okay, con number 6, growing pains. This is a big one. Fort Mill is booming, which is great, but also complicated. Farmland is turning into new subdivisions, quiet roads are becoming busy connectors, and empty land behind your home, it might already be zoned for development. This is why my end of the video tips are so important. They'll help you avoid these surprises. And like I promised at the beginning, here are 2 insider tips that can make a big difference if you're moving to Fort Mill, South Carolina. So, insider tip 1, check school zoning maps before you buy. Fort Mill schools are top rated, but zoning lines shift as the population grows. I've seen families buy a home assuming they were zoned for a certain school, only to learn the district lines changed that next year. 2 houses in the same street can be zoned for different schools. So always double check zoning before writing an offer. So insider tip number 2, check future development plans. don't assume the empty field behind your home will stay empty forever. A lot of that land is already planned for. Things like new neighborhoods, new commercial centers, and medical offices, and even mixed-use developments. And once construction starts, that peaceful backyard changes fast. Call the town planning department or have your agent, like me, check future development plans and maps. A 5-minute call can save you years of frustration. So, is Fort Mill right for you? If you want top-rated schools, a strong community vibe, beautiful neighborhoods, and easy access to Charlotte, then yes, Fort Mill should definitely be on your list. But if you want walkable nightlife, low traffic, or the cheapest housing around, it might not check all your boxes. If Fort Mill is on your radar, reach out to me. My team and I help people relocate to the Charlotte area and to surrounding suburbs every single week. Whether you're buying your first home or your forever home, we're here to help make that process smooth and stress-free. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and drop a question in the comments. I always respond. And if you're serious about making a move, click the link in the description to book a call with me. And as always, really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.